Looking on my lap, there was no one there, nor did the lady farther from my left then scoot down in the place of the absentee. Who could have been? I don't think it would have been wise for anyone behind me to do that to my hair, because the congregation would think that was immature of them. Could it have been Grandpa himself that pulled my hair? That thought of the answer being Grandpa that had pulled my hair made me excited. I put on a big smile on my face and anxiously waited for church to end so I can tell Father Bob. Once the church was dismissed, I quickly put away my choir books in their cupboard and quickly ran to Father Bob. Turns out he was in a section of pews talking to some people. I was so excited to tell him what had happened that I was jumping small jumps in my place. Once he was done talking, I told him what happened. Father Bob, I think my grandpa came to visit today and tugged my hair. He was happy to know this. I can't recall what he said. Maybe something like, "Wow, that's amazing, Nora." That evening, I called my Uncle Gary to wish him a happy birthday. After talking about other things to him, I told him what happened in church. I was disappointed by Gary's reaction to this. He said that whatever I had seen in the church and experienced must have been the work of the devil. How can a playful tug of my hair be the work of the devil? I didn't understand what Gary was talking about, nor did I want to believe his words, because what if it wasn't Grandpa but an angel? Angels aren't works of the devil. This is why I chose to simply ignore Gary and regretted telling him about what I had experienced in church that morning. I thought Gary would have been happy to know that probably his dad had tugged my hair, but I guess not. As I mentioned in an earlier chapter, my dad's mom died when I was only 6 years old in 1988. She died from an aneurysm. I was told from a relative, forgot who, that on the day of her death, she didn't take any painkillers such as Advil to relieve her headache. In fact, she never complained about being in pain, but only told my grandfather Alex that she wanted to take a nap, which she did. Later in the evening, she got up from her nap, saying she wasn't feeling good, and suddenly collapsed. She was rushed to the hospital, and doctors found out that it was too late for her. She was 90% brain dead. Finding myself having problems sleeping, I got out of bed, walked down the flight of stairs, and found Dad on the couch in the living room. "I can't sleep," is what I said to him. He let me sit on his lap and started to cry. I was confused by his sadness because that was the first time I'd ever seen him cry. He got up from the couch, holding me in his arms. I was still in an upright position, not laying down like a baby. He carried me into the dining room to the painting of Jesus' Last Supper on the wall. Dad pointed to Grandma, sticking out in the corner of a painting. It was a small wall-sized picture of her, smiling and looking beautiful with her brown hair and curls hanging down to her shoulders. To this day, I don't recall everything that Dad told me as he talked to me that night. So I'll just take a wild guess that it went something like this. That's your grandma and my mom. She was a wonderful lady and a kind-hearted person. I loved her and she loved you. I continued to look at the wallet-sized picture. She's gone, Dad said sadly. Gone? I asked, confused by what he meant. After all, I didn't understand what gone or death meant at the age of 6. All I remember next is attending the funeral visitation and the funeral service. Inside the funeral home, there were about 50 folding chairs lined up in front of an open casket where Grandma laid. I don't remember what all happened in the funeral home except for the fact that as I went up to Grandma, where she laid in her casket, I thought that if I had kissed her, she would wake up. To me, I thought she was sleeping. As soon as I laid my lips on her cheek, I noticed her cheek was cold. That confused me. Why would she be cold, is what I wondered to myself. Till this day, I recall a couple of my family members questioned Mom and Dad as to why I kept kissing Grandma.